I guess. Patreon. Patreon message. We went back up to $4.17 a month. Did some crazy new Patreon give us a ton of money? New post. Live stream. Use YouTube Live. The URL is this. Okay, select here just those on $10 plus and publish now. Live stream and email published. Okay, we should have good stuff. What up, Scarrett? Yes, the milk is to make sure my voice is horrific. Okay, good. Okay, so that's now gone out, I believe. Should be fine. Nothing gross about milk, son. Oh wait, you're vegan or vegetarian? I think you're vegan, aren't you? So, sorry. Just checking my emails. Patreon live stream. So that has gone out to people. So that is good. That is positive. Hey, welcome everybody to my backlash against Joaquin Phoenix's hatred of milk. Grid, Tron World, please. Okay. We'll give it a minute until people are coming in and settling down and all that sort of stuff. And I'll just sit here and relax while everyone gets not acquainted, but present. Thank you. Quiz was fun. Stuart and I enjoyed doing it. We'll definitely do another one very soon. We're also going to add a picture round and maybe a music round as well. So it'd be different, but it'd be good. Tell a joke. Canal Scarrett. I'm not good with jokes, so this will be bad. Hang on a minute. Nope. I will give you the first joke I can find on the internet, which is dangerous, but I'll do it. I'm literally searching for the word joke. Sure, that showed up. Hi, I'm the Google Assistant. Go Assistant. Oh, God. Open a TCU is a joke. Although, to be fair, it's a joke that's kind of working slowly over time. It's a long-form joke. Very delayed punchline. Might work out in the end. Okay, here we go. Joke. Okay, this is for Mr. Scarrett and also everybody else. Here we go. Why did the T-Rex eat raw meat? Fucking hell. Because its itty-bitty arms couldn't work the oven. Shitting hell. Well, that's horrific, and I'm sorry to flick that upon you all. That's it's John's fault. I do know one joke. It is the joke I reserve for when I need to tell a joke, to be fair. It is what's called the knight in shining mirrors joke. The I must admit, I must have Mandela'd up because I effectively think I kind of invented this joke. I won't tell it to you because who's heard it? I think Jack and Tim might. Tim's definitely heard it. I think Jack must have heard it. But it's a brutal joke because it's usually, I think I told it on my birthday, my 30th birthday, over the course of 5-6 hours, and at the end everyone was just very unhappy, except for me, who was laughing hysterically. I found it hilarious. So I'll spare you that joke for today. Good. So I should introduce. In the chat, you can see obviously Jack Chambers, your host as always. And you also have John Scarrett, who is the guy who's done amazing artwork for us. He has designed our new logo, our avatars, and the poster artwork that's been coming out. And he's very talented. He's very good. Check his stuff out. So they're there. Feel free to talk to them as well. I'm literally, obviously, going forward and in future, we'll have Tim, myself, and Jack chat about stuff, hanging out. But at the same time, because of quarantine lockdown, only one at a time. Maybe next time it'll be Jack. Who knows? But yeah, we're all here. I'm glad you have the shirt on. That's nice. I like people if you're dressing up as Sequelizers fans for the chat. I'm the clever one. Shit, that is a worrying sign for us. Because, so obviously I'm on a bit of a delay. So I will read the comments and see things coming in, but equally, I might be reporting to things you kind of typed like 5-10 minutes ago. Yeah. A lot of pressure on me now. I feel like I should perform in some way or do something, but clever equals knowledgeable about films. Thanks, Jack. That's fair. I can't dispute that. My shirt is a Flynn Arcade one. Not for any reason other than it was a washing bar. I've seen a lot of Flynn Arcades. Is this literally just the logo? It's like a black t-shirt with this sort of neon logo. It's a decent t-shirt. Don't tell another joke. I won't tell another joke. I promise you. Because again, I'm not Googling another one. Put shoe on head. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not wearing a shoe. I'm wearing a very flat slipper. Timothy Moten, everybody. Bastard. I will not dance, however, because for the purposes of health and safety, it's very unwise to dance when there's obviously all this equipment lying around. It could be very, very disastrous for the stream and for my well-being. So I'll pass it this time. Is how I get up. Put milk on head. What the fuck? I mean, for some reason I feel obliged to do this because I'm on camera. So I will. But if you mean the stein of milk like this, sure, I'll do that, John. If you mean this, you can fuck right off, son. So I'm just going to assume you meant this. That must have been quite... No, we're not going to pour it! You freaks! Utter weirdos. The sticky, hot brown brown? Black leather doesn't need to be added to with sticky milk nonsense. I don't think this is how it's going to... okay. Patreon live stream chat. Just redubbed. What the fuck can we get Matt to put on his head? I have to go around the house and look for shit that'll actually constitute Cat Bus and Godzilla. Okay, let's do that. These are easy so far. I'm happy to try. Cat Bus, piece of piss. No problem at all with that one. Godzilla, curved edge, could be problematic. Mostly worked. That's on the head still. Tim, that's a good question. What have I been watching recently? Technically, we have an episode, a Patreon bonus audio thing about what we've been watching recently, where we obviously go in depth about all that stuff. So I won't talk about any of that shit. But I've been watching Tower of God, which is a new anime, which is friggin' awesome. Because okay, if you're not ready for some anime chat, I'm sorry, it's happening. Basically, almost all anime in Japan comes out of an adaptation of manga, an adaptation of light novels. So it's very rare you get an original bit of content. However, Tower of God and a few others are adapted from, I think it's Webtoons, which is it's just an online webcomics forum as well. And a lot of it's manhwa, which is a South Korean stuff. But it's now being bought by the Japanese, animated and dubbed by the Japanese because the demand for it is so high. And that's quite a big turning point. That's quite a big move for that industry. So I've been watching that, and it's actually really good. It's the art style's, it's weird. It's not like hyper polished that you'd expect. It feels a bit like it's yeah, it's a bit reminiscent of 90s stuff. In terms of what films I've been watching recently, I've been more rewatching stuff because I sold a lot of Blu-rays. I will find it. 1 second. What have I been watching? I can't find it. Ah, there we go. Excuse the arse shot. I have been rewatching some Koreeda stuff. My wife and I tend to want to have a sort of Koreeda marathon, so we'll probably do that. I'm now going to check in the chat. 1 second, please. Anime. I tune out of anime. Well, that's gone well so far. Japan Matthew. Yeah, okay. In your stream chat, you got to put rest on the head. Yeah, I agree with that. Booty. Thanks, Tim. Comics. Ass. Good. This is going very well so far. So, again, this is the first trial of this thing. We're all quite new to doing it this way. So I'm just going to check and see if I can find out certain things. If the whole chat ends up just going, ooh, sorry. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it's not my fault. Let's see what I've got here. Participants. That's got to be what I'm looking for. So I can see who's here. Right, okay. Good. That's easy enough. Nice and no, bugger it. Succession. What Succession, John? I feel it's a TV series, and I feel it's. Yeah. Oh, is that the Brian Cox thing? That's very good, and I hear is amazing. And I probably should get around to it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is that one. Yeah, I've only heard good things, so that's good. Okay, other than balancing shit on my head for some reason. No, not that Brian Cox. Brian Cox, the Scottish old man. From many films. And for some reason, the first thing that came to my head was Troy, which is odd. Anaconda 1 and 2. From the new box set, right? But of 4? Yes, that man, that Brian Cox. It's always very interesting what people think of. I mean, there's certain like characters, like Leland Orser is an actor. Let me see if I can call a picture of him. Leland Orser. And he's the kind of actor where you see him and go, oh, that guy. But where you know him from defines kind of who you are. Like with Brian Cox, for example. One moment. It's very exciting, me on my phone. Looking for a picture. I don't know how to share images on the screen yet, so I'll just have to figure that one out. But if I can do this, that's Leland Orser. Usually wears glasses. Taken. Was he in Taken? I'm not entirely sure he wasn't Taken. Unless you mean the TV series. Oh no, he wasn't. He wasn't taken. I apologize. He is. Yeah, that is correct. So yeah, there you go. It's the whole. What do you know him from? Yeah, this the shaky guy from Seven. Yeah, the guy who has sex with people with giant blades. I know him predominantly from lots of bits and pieces, but when I first recognized him was Alien Resurrection. I mean, I don't know why. Just him saying, "What's fucking side me?" So that's where I know Ian also from. Let's look at the chat. Lisa's right. Yeah, afternoon all. Oh, hi, Andrew. Andy, what do you prefer, man? I don't know. I'm going to assign you all random nicknames. You'll enjoy them all. Afternoon, it was 10 seconds. Yeah. Rest and Mars Princess. Ether's fine. I mentioned this because my brother is Andrew, and he goes by Andrew and Andy. But in the same way I go by Matthew, I don't really give a shit. It's all fine. Right. So let's give you, because now there's a handful of people, let's give you a boring ass tour of how's Jack like call it? Sequelizer's HQ. So this is massively unprepared. That's where I sit. That's where Jack and Tim sit, close together. That's a bunch of comics and Assassin's Creed stuff. That's a TV. That's some stuff. Bunch of Blu-rays that we all look at when we're recording. A bunch of Blu-rays. Me. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. And it served us well for our needs, the Mac Cave. Yeah. The only frustration when we're recording, as I'm sure Jack and Tim will confirm, is the idea that when you sit back, all the plushies fall on you. It's a pain in the ass. Tim gets assaulted by a Ditto every now and again. And of course, the fact that it's black leather. So currently, yeah, it's not too bad. It's fine. When we end up recording in summer, if we record in summer, who the fuck knows what's going on? But the point is, when that happens, it gets excruciatingly hot in here. And obviously for audio fidelity, to make sure that the sound quality is good for the recording session, we shut all windows and it gets excruciating. Last summer, on the hottest day of the year, the hottest day ever recorded in Britain, we were in here with all the windows closed and it's excruciating. The big sort of metal box that we filter everything through, the 8-channel thing goes into the computer. That pumps out a lot of heat. It's really, really hot. And it was obviously me, Tim, Alec, and Jack. And we were recording the Saturday Night Fever sequel, Staying Alive. We did that episode. And it was horrifying. We were so hot. So the black leathers can be brutal and unforgiving. Again, back to the chat. Okay. AVP, yeah. Studio, yeah, can get close as we can, yeah, move on. Yes, Jack and Tim do sit practically in each other's laps. It's I'm sure there's a reason, because we've literally rotated seats so many times in this room. We almost always recorded in here, except for like the very first early episodes. And at one point, obviously, there was 5 of us, and that juggling this many seats and things can be very difficult. And we do also record our audio commentaries for the Patreon here. So again, same seating, and we'll sit here and watch a terrible film. We do have one audio recorded for audio commentary, I should say, for Series 6. I won't say anything about it yet, but it is recorded along with the episode before all this happened. So that's good. I'm reading the comments again, sorry. No, you see, there's a very, very wise suggestion here about putting some throws over the couch just to sort of eliminate any of the heat or excess heat. And no, I think suffering is important for art. So we'll just continue to suffer. the Black Beauty thing. What, like Alan Partridge cleaning his hotel room? As long as the wait between series, as long as no, we aren't gonna, just address Stuart's comment. We're not gonna have the kind. Well, hopefully, we will never have the kind of huge breaks that we had previously. Now, admittedly, at the start, and obviously Jack and Tim will attest to this, at the start of the process, it was very up in the air. We're having a lot of fun with it, trying to figure out how to make it work, what it was going to look like, and so on and so forth. And it took a lot of time to do all of it. And also scheduling 5 people becomes very difficult. Especially one of them was already doing like weekly YouTube videos and stuff like that. So once we got to the point when it was just myself, Tim, Jack, we said, no, we need to make sure that this is going to be a regular thing. By the way, I know you're not being facetious or like cruel in the comments. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But it's good to address, because it's like why, for example, we extended the inter-season episodes, I should say, because we initially had the idea that we'd have 5 inter-season episodes and bang, straight into season 6, 5 or 6 more, bang, into season 7. And of course, everything that happened at the minute, it's just a case of we want to make sure that the recording setup is good enough for the season, basically, but also that we can, if I mean, internationally speaking, Britain's doing pretty shit at handling the situation. And subsequently, we keep thinking, well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what we can get away with, and we don't want to jump into recording too much of Series 6 if we know we can be like united and stuff. But we did have everything, as Jack said, planned out week by week for 2020. To be fair, it's only been pushed back a bit. We did 5 more inter-season episodes, which are all really, really good. Although we have to record a few. But the subjects are very interesting. And the most recent ones, I mean, you guys are all $10 Patreon people. So in theory, you should all know what this is. Or have heard the episode, possibly. But the most recent, or Tuesday's episode, I should say, will be... is it the Crisis Squad on Tuesday? Or is it the catch-up? Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, it's a classic catch-up. God, how am I so bad at remembering our own schedule? Jesus. It is classic catch-up. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, good. Yeah. I'm just going to read the comments for 1 second. Lockdown protesters in London. Yeah, lockdown protesters in London. I mean, if we get political for a second, because not to be too political, obviously, I want to keep it light and friendly and everything else, but at the same time, Jack, Tim, and myself are constantly writing scripts for alternate films. And as a writer, you can't help but inject your own viewpoints and worldviews. And so, for example, when we're saying, hey, we're going to maybe cast a completely different person of color or of different gender to be Tommy in a new Power Rangers film. We like to see the diversity reflected in cinema, and therefore part of our politics and blah 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 blah. But yeah, this situation, this pandemic, is being exacerbated largely because of dickheads and idiots, basically. But we covered that in our yeah, a fair bit in our cinematic crisis squad. Just look at the comments 1 second. Okay. Thought for an idea for a future inter-season episode. Okay. Find an obscure film and read out 3 plots. 1 is true, the other 2 false. Take it in turn to fool each other. Interesting. Very interesting. That sounds to me like very much one of our little games, where we'd I'm always, again, this is the nature of recording this stuff way in advance. I'm always a little bit unsure of what we have and haven't released, so I don't want to give things away. But basically, yeah, there is the idea of doing little games like that, and we do quite frequently. I've been working on a video to promote the $10 Patreon tier, mostly the ultimate stuff, because people who don't know the kind of stuff we have with the commentaries and the outtakes and all the rest bits and pieces, it's basically a bit of a montage, a bit of a showcase of clips to say this is the kind of stuff we have behind the awfulness of a paywall, unfortunately. But it's still, this is the extra content, including episodes where we talk about all kinds of stuff, as well as it's not just us literally saying, yeah, that's shit, that'll do, it's good enough. It's like, no, we're recording specific whole episodes. The most recent one of the ones that Tim's editing, I'm not going to name it, but it's like a maybe 2.5 hour conversation. It's a full inter-season episode, basically. It's just the fact that it'll be just exclusively for you people. But I do like the idea of doing that. But I think Jack is entirely right. Getting one past me might be a little bit tricky, maybe. We'll see. What's been your favourite canon episode to record? There are lots of them. I think one of the most fun recording sessions was Despicable Me 3. Predominantly because we'd done The Dark Knight, we were getting into a swing of Series 5, the new formula, the new layout. We're really, really enjoying it, thinking this is going really well. And it descended into kind of madness, basically. I don't remember the exact way we ended up searching minion porn, but we did. And it was just a really raucous, silly atmosphere. And at the same time, we still professional enough to do the episode. You wouldn't know these things were going on unless you were aware of it. So yeah, that was actually really fun to do that. As stupid as that sounds, because if we talk about like what was the most, that's a really cool story. I really love what Jack did with Hannibal. That was fantastic. I really love what Tim did with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Because it's this kind of thing we think, as a writer, I might have gone a different way. I might have done a different thing. I'm usually the sort of butting heads mindset of us saying, I wouldn't have done that. I like what we have at the minute. I really do like the sort of writer room style dynamic. I think it's really fun to see what would happen. Because again, someone could produce an entirely different thing, but then through just tweaking it, and altering bits and pieces to make them work, it's nice. It's a really good collaborative environment. So they're the other ones I like now. What's here? Sorry. On that note, what's been your least favorite to make? I think the only thing to say about that is, and I'm sure Jack and Tim will say the same thing. It's not that we have a bad time recording it, because I think genuinely it always goes well. I think if way in the past, just before Tim came on, we recorded The Matrix Reloaded and Superman 3 in one evening. We started at 7 or 8 p.m. and went on to like 1 and maybe 1:30 in the morning. We were all tired, very grumpy. Jack wasn't very well at the time. I think he had a lot of stuff going on as well, and it was just a kind of shitty atmosphere. And that's the only thing that's bad. Other than that, we've had a good time with it, because at the end of the day, I mean, as ridiculous as this might sound, we just enjoy talking about films, and it's a nice, fun thing to do. What do we got here? Minions are still everywhere. Okay, well that's depressing, but that's fair. I thought that it kind of died off and might have been replaced by Tiger King, but they're everlasting, the bastards. What do we got here? The Honey Kids pitch was my favorite of this season. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Jack, that was the worst recording segment for me. One of the worst headaches for my life for the Yeah, and the thing is, because you obviously, especially with Jack, he has to pay so much. Well, a previous format pays so much attention to really analyze what the pitches were like, any scrutiny, and then obviously basically hold Alec and Stuart, and at the time Tom and myself apart. So hang on, let's just do this logically. So quite demanding on Jack. Patreon app. Sorry, man. I will quickly just check, make sure there's no. I'm sure you guys are already on it, but I'm gonna just double check and see if there's any comments or problems, people saying, I can't connect or anything like that, just in case. So please feel free to look at the top of my head for a few minutes. Good. All right. I think we're all good. Everything seems okay. Right. So, while we're here, I don't have a good way of doing this. I apologize profusely to everybody involved. We'll figure it out next time. But while we're all here, John Scarrett. So obviously part of the things he does with us is we've asked him to produce a couple of posters for the season, and his Dark Knight one, fucking amazing. I think everyone hands down has really loved it. It's been really good. And every time we say something to John, like, "Oh, come here, this is an idea," he always excels our expectations. Because again, he's extremely talented. And we had an initial idea for the Nightfall one. We had to talk about it and then refined it. And yeah, what we've ended up with, I'm really, really happy with. We have the second poster. Second poster is ready. So probably later tonight or at least tomorrow. And then we'll share it all around and things. And he has, for me personally, because it's kind of a, I mean, okay. So Jack said when John sent over the poster for Nightfall, he said, "This is it. This is going on my phone now. This is my dream." It's a film that he's hated or didn't like or disliked considerably, that we've fixed with his name on it, the little credit block at the bottom. Has all the cast, all the DP, that kind of stuff. But it also has us as writers, and it's a nice little thing in there. And we like the idea about getting them framed and things. And obviously, for certain tiers on Patreon, you can obviously have the digital copy. For the certain tiers, you can have a printout version sent to you. And obviously, we'll sell them on the shop as well for people who want them as well. If you want multiples, so for example, for gifts for friends. Thank you. So as Jack said, the Nightfall ones have been printed. They'll be going out to executive producers and available on the shop soon, which is awesome. So I'm going to call up this on my phone, and I know, John, if you're still here, I'm sorry, because I know that'll make him so angry and upset because the quality won't be as perfect as it can be, but it will go up later. It's more just to show you guys what it is, and it's astonishing. So there are 3 posters for Series 5. God, I'm thinking of Series 6 already. There are 3 posters for Series 5. The first one was Nightfall. The second one is this one, and the third one is something else. We won't tell what the third and the second are until we actually announce them. But the second one is frankly goddamn beautiful. So if you're all prepared and nice and ready, let's see if I can do this quite well. So just to show you, and obviously the proper version will go out on Patreon later today and upload on Instagram and all these bits and pieces. You can share it around and things, and then we'll send out to those patrons who have it, and it'll be available to buy as well, etc. But in the meantime, let's see if we can do this without messing up. So I'll focus, and here we go. Do it. Focus on it. Nope, it's going to be an asshole. Anyway, it's amazing, and I'm going to try and I'm going to get this right. See if a little lower brightness will help. Focus. Put my face away. Focus. There we go. That took a long time. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But it is genuinely spectacular. When this came through, I was like, holy shit, this is good. Because it's one of those weird things when you see this stuff, when we write the script, we think that's quite feasible. That's a great idea. That's a really nice thing. I wish I could have seen that. And with John's artwork, it's, oh yeah, John, if it's possible to upload it. I mean, again, I don't know about the chat format, but if it goes on here, please by all means do that, because then you can actually look at it properly. But I don't know how that might work. So you do that, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it'll go out later today, so you don't have to wait too long. But yeah, sorry, John, no button, so we can't do that. But as Tim said, channeling Drew Struzan, and it's the idea of trying to create something that's obviously pretty and beautiful, but at the same time something that's really looks like it could have come out at the time, and it looks, if I could better word, real. And seeing that puts a real, it sounds stupid saying a real reality to it, but it does give it actual weight, and makes it feel more real. And it's very as a filmmaker, when I write something down in a script, if I'm like doing a Super Happy Kill Time episode or something, and I've written down so and so does this, and then we go and film it, it's just really touching to see it come to life and think this is amazing. So obviously, John can do something that Jack, Tim, and myself can't do, because yes, okay, maybe we could study art for a very long time and maybe get a bit better than we are, but it's not just that. It's just But as I say, this will go out later today. You'll be able to see it in full detail and pour all over it, because it is amazing. So yeah, exciting times, exciting things. But yeah, my only not reservation, my only concern is that I'm going to love the shit out of all of them, which I have thus far, and we're going to roll through so many that I'm going to run out of wall space really fast, because I'm going to obviously display them myself. And it's like, right, what do I have left? Now, admittedly, I've got some blank walls. I can do something. Yeah, obviously, I should also point out, a bit of a plug, John's just recently done his new zine, his Keanu Reeves and Cats. That's available from his site, I believe. So if you want to go ahead and get that now, it's very, very, very good. I'm sure we've been sharing it on Twitter and things like that, so you should be able to see some images and things. But they are very, very cool and very funny. I like him. I like his series of actor and things. I like him a lot. How big are the physical ones? We decided on, if I remember correctly, A3 in the end. I'm waiting for Jack to say yes, because he's probably got one sat in front of him in his house. You can only pick one: Street Sharks, Hawk Aliens, or Peter Frampton. I see. So Hawk Aliens are nonsense. They're just fucking nonsense. So I don't think I could pick them. Peter Frampton. The music of Peter Frampton is fine. It's fine. And Street Sharks is a meh series, but Strada Squali, yeah. So I'm gonna say let's keep Hawk Aliens, because they've taken more of an impact on our lives. Hawk Aliens, fucking hell. And we had this conversation saying just flying xenomorphs would have been fine, but Hawk Aliens. A3. So Jack has confirmed they are A3 posters. They're quite beefy. And the thing is, we thought it's a good size to obviously see all the detail, because there's a lot of really, really good detail in the artwork. But at the same time, we don't want to be taking up too much wall space, and make sure people can get them out and display them. That's what we want, ideally. My initial plan was to spend room into Den, but for good reasons, the plan's totally changed, so I have no idea where we're going. You'll find a place. They'll be somewhere. I don't know where. Cool. This is going well so far, I think. I'm going to go like some milk. Quite beefy. So, I'm not sure, actually. I don't know how many people have seen this. But basically, the Sequelizers Gallery. We should do that. The Sequelizers wing of the National Gallery. What was I going to say? Something entirely flipped out of my mind. No, that's gone entirely. You're welcome. Next Patreon goal. Well, we need to get our first Patreon goal. Actually, no, that's not true. Sorry, the first Patreon goal was to stretch to 12 episodes, so we did that, yeah. You may have noticed we shifted the thing. So we now have the 500 tier Patreon goal being the MCU chat. Multi-part thing, like 2 or 3 hour long episodes, really, really big recording session sort of thing, to address the MCU. Because a lot of people do get this question all the time, and we'll probably cover that in the listener feedback episode. By the way, if you have any questions, make sure you send them in. And the MCU is huge, and it's so intertwined. Like, for example, he's like, "Oh, fixed all the Dark World." It's like, it's kind of a little bit woven into Endgame. Not in a major way, but enough of a way that to figure things out. That kind of thing. So we're going to address all that kind of stuff. And then we are going to do, hopefully, a Star Wars prequel live episode. But again, at the minute, that's not practical because of everything that's going on. So we don't want to do that and rush it or get there and promise something we can't do. But I think, yeah, we'll get there eventually. And then we'll do the Sequelizers art gallery. Stretch goal. Next one. Do you have any Animal Crossing codes? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Weird. Oh. The only thing I know about Animal Crossing in the minute is my wife was playing, and like she's playing now, and there was a storm, and she said you can only catch certain fish in the storm. And I'm like, okay, knock yourself out. Oh right, art. Okay. Oh, interesting. Art, Animal Crossing, of course. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, okay. Bold talk here. I rewatched the prequels yesterday, the Star Wars prequels. Bar the slog of Attack of the Clones, they're functional and fine. There's a validity to that. I think Episode 1 holds up. The Phantom Menace holds up visually because it's practical effects, but it's dour and boring. Attack of the Clones is very melodramatic soap opera nonsense that ultimately tries for something, but it's very boring. And then Revenge of the Sith feels like it's going to correct itself and ultimately give fans what they want, but it isn't. And the key thing is the direction, because the writing is awful. Of course it is, Lucas, but the direction is so flat. The camera moves in such a boring way. The stuff we get is boring. The humor is childish. It's a man who has surrounded himself with sycophants who ultimately isn't being told, like with Carrie Fisher rewriting stuff and well, getting the idea to do so, but more importantly, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill saying, I'm not saying that kind of thing. Without that level of confidence, it crippled it, unfortunately. But we'll discuss that in much more detail when the time comes. I think they're not good. I think people saying, oh, the prequels are better than the sequel trilogy are wrong. Wholly wrong. We won't go into that. What do we got next here? Prequels are full of effects. Yeah, okay. They're of a time as well, trying to compete with other films instead of being Star Wars. That's very true. Enjoyable parts to Phantom Menace I don't get from Attack on the Clones. Okay. Okay, fights happening. That's interesting. You guys fight it out. That's good. Attack of the Clones has seismic charge. Has the seismic charge. The sound is okay. I will give you that. As much as there's no sound in space, the seismic charge bit is quite cool. The attack of dubstep in space. But again, with the prequel stuff, it's always a bit annoying when you don't see these things ever again. It doesn't seem to fit the universe very well. But yeah, that's fine. Objectively wrong. People prefer the prequels to sequels. Yeah, that's true. And of course, yes, this is a key point here. The music is amazing. John Williams and the sound work in general has always been a stellar part of Star Wars. I think as always will be, if I'm honest with you. Although of the follow-up stuff, not the sequels, which again was still John Williams, but if we talk about the anthology films, Solo and Rogue One, Michael Giacchino and wasn't John Powell, was it? I think it was John Powell, yeah, who did Solo. There's some really good scores. They're really, really epic and quite intense. So I'd like to see what people can do with it next. Skip Phantom Menace and not miss any of the story. Oh, you can skip Phantom Menace and not miss any of the story. I think there's some validity to that because of the nature of how Lucas writes them, in the sense that they are meant to be serialized things that just sort of pick up. And also he has so much of a handle on, not handle, sorry, he messes it up. He has an ability to talk about things that are more interesting than he's showing you. It's like you taking a lift ride up and saying, remember that time we did this? Oh, great times. What happened the last 3 or 4 years since we last checked in with the audience? Oh, these things, great times. Let's have a conversation. It's weird and boring. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So I do understand what you're saying there. I don't know if I fully agree though. About the heroes. Okay. Bold statement, Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars. Yes, Rogue One being your favorite Star Wars is not that bold, because Jack Chambers will likely pipe up and say, mine too, because that's ultimately Jack. I don't necessarily disagree. I think there's some flaws and issues with Rogue One, but I think it's a very, very commendable piece of cinema. I think it's decent. I think Gareth Edwards gets a lot of shtick, but actually, again, I'm one of the people who really, really, really likes the 2014 Godzilla. So maybe I'm the weird one. Oh, poster link. Wait, what poster link? Where? Hang on, John. Mr. Scout, I think you'll find if you try and post a link, YouTube might get rid of it because it's being, protecting the people, censoring the artist, all that kind of shit. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Do you think the Phantom Menace was supposed to be Jar Jar Binks? Let me level with you, Mike. I think anything retroactively where people sort of pick up on things and go, oh, Georgie boy, George Lucas, he had a plan. He had a plan. You're like, yeah, no, we don't think he has a plan. We don't think he ever really has a plan. I think he literally takes them as and when he gets each film. There's no stuff. He will talk a big game and say like, oh, in Star Wars, I had this idea to do a thing, and he was going to be his father. Maybe he did. That bit might be true, but ultimately, Leia being the sister, for example, bullshit. That was a last-minute tack. There's got to have been a last-minute tacked on thing because there's nothing in there that really cements it. It's like a writing a television episode a week kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, what do we do here? Rather than having a full season plotted out because you don't know the future of your show or his film in this case. I think the prequels of Jar Jar, I think he just wanted to make a funny character that kids would like that would sell toys. Not in a cynical way. I think that's functionally what it was supposed to do. And if you look at the behind the scenes film they were making at the time, it was like, he's just going to walk like this because he's kind of dopey, kind of silly. We've never had a funny character like this. And, C-3PO's been kind of funny, but never this funny. You're like, oh my God, you were trying really, really hard, and this is what you came up with. So I don't think, if I'm honest with you, I think everything with Lucas is quite surface. When he says the Phantom Menace, he means Darth Maul, or maybe if he's being really sneaky, Darth Sidious and the Rise of the Empire. Because as much as he can tap into a sort of audience sometimes, and a really relatable thing by creating Star Wars, I think he doesn't have the writing chops for that kind of arc overview. Let's see. You can see that, yeah, okay. You just sit through 120 minutes of a creepy kid lusting after a princess. This is true. People formulate their own plot to fit. That's also very true. J.J. Abrams is an appropriate heir to Lucas, says Tim Mayton. Tim, I think you might be on it. I think you might have nailed that. Very true. He's kind of doing a fan theory to his own movies, which, yeah, okay. Would it have been better with Michael Jackson playing him as he wanted? You mean Cities for sure. Pretty bad compared to the original trilogy. This is very, very true. But yeah, no. Well, this is all very good, very good. We're all getting on very well. So, I mean, this last 50 minutes or so have flown by. I feel like I should put something in front of the screen, just show you some shit from around the room or something. I can't think of anything of real significance. I mean, we've kept a rope around where Jack sits to keep his butt crevice and his groove in place. I'm kidding. Tim's out, everybody. Everybody wave at Tim. Tim's got to go out and meet up with 10 people in a public space. Oh no, that's forbidden. Show us your Assassin's Creed shrine. Favorite Assassin's Creed item? The shrine, Matt. The shrine. Okay. 1 second. It'll be from a distance, I'm afraid, because length. Bye, Tim. See you soon. Love you. So the Assassin's Creed shrine from a distance. There's no way I can even. Well, let's see how long the wire is. The wire is short. So the Assassin's Creed shrine is over there. And that's a ton of stuff. No. Oh God, reverse controls, it's so weird. So yeah. I'll now describe it. It has collector's art book stuff. It's got a statue from each game, I want to say. Lots of bits and pieces, things that Stuart's given me, freebie stuff that he's been given from his video gaming contacts and ways and all that sort of stuff, and art books from collector's editions, the steel books. There's some other comics up there as well. The tickets for the live show. So I never did it in the States, in like Los Angeles and New York and a few other major cities. And they did one in London, but we're going to do more in April. But obviously, But Jack, his fiance, me and my wife went to London to watch the Assassin's Creed Symphony, and it was fucking brilliant. It was really good. I haven't been to. I've obviously been to like the theatre a lot and opera and things like that, but I've never been to a live concert for video game music or film music for that matter. Now I think about it, I don't think I've ever had it, because I know they did like John Williams music for the form like Jurassic Park in front of the actual like live scoring, as it were. But it was very, very cool. It was one they would literally work their way through each game in the franchise, and there's obviously quite a lot of them. It was nice hearing the evolution of the music. It had like a big screen at the back playing the games, or footage from the games and the story and stuff. But it's very, very cool. And I really, really enjoyed that. It was a nice little one-off, unique experience. To answer the question of my favorite Assassin's Creed item, I would say that's difficult. I'll bring it over. Give me a second. I think it's going to be this one. This Altair on a bell. I feel like a proper YouTuber now, holding up stuff and waiting for it to focus for like an hour, and it doesn't. You go, oh, bugger it. So the reason that's my favorite one is because Altair was the first game I played for obviously Assassin's Creed, the first one. It really got me into the franchise. I really enjoyed it. That was the last one they were selling at MCM, the Comic Con in London, Excel. We were there as Cheesemint, the film company that we've got, and we were just going from table to table. And I saw it and I said, "This is amazing," and I said, "Oh, that's so cool." And he said, "Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out for you." And I said, "Thanks." They actually put it to one side and said, and then found us at the table and said, "Do you want this for 20 quid?" And I said, "But it's a £50 thing." And I said, yeah, but you're a nice guy and you stuff cool. And I was like, "Thank you. This is Merchandise Monkey, I think they're called." Yeah. And it was just there's the thing about when you're a con, when you're at conventions, it's really cool in general. But when you're hosting or you're behind a table, then it's even more cool, and you interact with a lot of people and you get a lot of friends with the fans and obviously all the people there as well, the other exhibitors. So yeah, that's got a nice little personal significance for me. Next up, let's just do a big catch up here. Show and tell. It's become this way, but again, we can do that. Favorite Assassin's Creed game? Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I know Assassin's Creed 2 is the legendary one everyone loves, and it's fantastic and brilliant, and I agree. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood did the same thing, great game, and also had multiplayer. And it wasn't just like a run around and stab each other multiplayer, it was cat and mouse games. Very clever, really good. I also love the Black Flag re-energized and reinvigorated the series, and I also love the fact that Origins is just fantastic. It's really reinventing the show again. So there are good points where they keep doing new things. So I think that's my general answer. Now you know Ashen's Fields. Yeah, I know. Team Ezio, Connor. The love for Connor, man. I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying it's interesting because Assassin's Creed 3 is either like heralded or lambasted, it seems, but that's a conversation for another day. Black Flag. Yeah, I think everyone enjoyed Black Flag because it was very free and very fun, and it kind of partly tied into the overworld stuff. But Origins and Odyssey are the ones that have sold people recently because of the reworking of the franchise into like a bit of. Although Rogue, shit, yes, Rogue is massively underrated. It's basically the Black Flag engine, so it's a really good game, and it's got an assassin who, commits accidental genocide in Portugal and says, "Fuck this, we're on the wrong side." And I love that question of which is more important. Are you doing the right thing? Are you on the right side? So yeah, I some good shouts, some good Assassin's Creed talk. Waiting for you to come away. Yeah, okay. Connor was dull. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Connor being the way he is when his father was when his grandfather was a pirate, and his father is a Templar who was stolen away from a pirate, and the fact that Connor's a Native American in Revolutionary America, there should have been so much there. It just came out a little bit flat. I think there's a lot of really interesting things going on, but yeah. But anyway, let's bring it back to some film stuff. Here's a question for you guys, for you to answer me. Hang on. Sorry, I was going to ask a question, but I've got one on screen. If you could make an Assassin's Creed game in any period, what would you choose, you and Jack? Ooh. So here's the thing. Valhalla's coming out. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Obviously, I've pre-ordered it and it's ready to go. And yay, Vikings. I went to Norway last year, and fuck me, Norway's amazing. Having said that, Norway is bastard expensive. Excruciatingly expensive. Really, really pricey. But that's because everyone's paid well. But Norway's a beautiful country. I really enjoyed it. We went up to like Bergen and went around there, and the funicular up to the top of the Troll Mountain, as it were. And we went to Olden, to the Bruksdal. I can't remember what it's called now, but there's a glacier that's very, very cool. We hiked all the way up to that, and we went to Hellestadt and Garangar and went up to this up the fjord and this point. It's just fucking beautiful. Norway the fjords are genuinely the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Sea was choppy as fuck. My God, the North Sea is unforgiving. I feel for Vikings, Jesus. But so Valhalla, great setting. The truth is, I think Assassin's Creed needs to remember what it is, the kind of gameplay it needs to be, and I think the Boudica, interesting. That could work quite nice, actually. Yeah, it's the time period and the setting, and the kind of game you're playing, and how much it ties into the story. So for me personally, I think anything after the 1800s gets a bit tricky, because ultimately, did I say 800? 1800s. 1800s. Because, yeah, Russian Revolution is a good setting. They did that in the comics, and that worked quite nicely. The problem is guns. As we discovered with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, guns are tricky. The Mughal Empire in India. I really like that. And again, I'm pretty sure they did that on the, what are they called? They adapted 3 storylines. It was China, India, and the Revolutionary Russia one for these 2D scrolling Assassin's Creed games that I really enjoyed. I thought they were very fun, very different. The 2.5 games, exactly, yeah. And yeah, so to answer the question, in my opinion, I would like to see... Shit, that's difficult. I think mine is going to have to be India as well. I think Scarrett's nailed it, if I'm honest with you, because it would feel different and very lush environments, and the animal encounters would be really cool, and the politics would be really interesting. So I think that would be a really, really cool one to do. So I agree. Medieval England. See, this is the thing. I agree with you. I think it's inevitable because of the way that Ubisoft made For Honor, with their things being, feudal Japan, medieval England, and Vikings. It's like, well, you tick one of those off. It will, however, never be Japan. I know people want it, but that's one they will never probably get around to. I don't know why. I think it's because there are so many games that are set in Japan already, and they're like, I know they want an Assassin's Creed there, but they don't. But yeah, Valhalla is Vikings in Britain, as far as we're all aware. Kim Wars. Yeah. King? Q is Qing, isn't it? Qing dynasty. Yeah. I agree with that. That's a very good shout. Yeah, feudal Japan. I know it's been 2 since Assassin's Creed 1, but they'll I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's a valid reason. I'm pretty sure, if I'm being brutally honest, I bet you the reason is an arrogant sense of we don't want to because everyone else does that. Thank you. It is Chin, isn't it? Chin Dynasty. Yes, that's what I thought it was. Yes, thank you. So, hence why it's called China. My question was about films, oddly enough. I was going to ask, because rather obviously, I know you guys obviously provide great questions, and you ask us stuff for the listener feedback and for the Q&A things, and we're all very grateful. But I'd be curious to hear your feedback on these things, because we got all the opposite on Discord and Twitter, but, for immediacy, let's go with something we actually covered on our video game episode. What would you like to have adapted? And Jack had Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain stuff, and I went with... Holy God, how can I remember what I went with at the end? Some loyal fan of the show, help me out. What the hell did I go with? How have I already forgotten what my pick was for video game adaptation? Oh, it was Tenchu. Of course it was. Yeah. Metroid. Metroid would be very interesting. Here you go. Here, let's just drill down that vein for a second. Metroid. Who would you cast in the Tyrone of Samus Aran? Who would be your main Metroid casting? Because that's a tricky one. I mean, the actual body armor, that's just, armor. That's very specific. There's a Nightmare Before Christmas game called Oogie's Revenge. I'd like to see that. Scarlett Johansson, that is the perfect answer. Get out. Charlize Theron, not a bad one. Sorry, Theron, she pronounced it. Sorry, Theron. Michelle Rodriguez. So let's just dissect those. Scarlett Johansson is an interesting shout, because as much as we give her flack for doing all the things she does, she is actually a very capable and very good actor in a lot of roles. Specifically, her stuff for the Oscars this year of Jojo Rabbit and stuff. And obviously Marriage Story. She was very, very good in that. So I fully understand that. That's a good shout. But I don't think she's appropriate for it because, of course not. Michelle Rodriguez, I don't know. I don't know if she's got the chops behind her. I think she's good in what she turns up in sometimes, but Christ, she can be fucking flat sometimes. I mean, like really bland. I think it's just a bit too... Charlize Theron, yes, she's genius. She's a very solid choice for that. That's actually probably the strongest thus far. Samara Weaving. She's an Australian actor, isn't she? 1 second. Samara Weaving. Oh, there she was. She's in Australia. Yeah, feasibly. It'd be nice to have someone who's a bit out of the usual casting field. That's actually not a bad shout. And she's in the new Bill and Ted film. Interesting. So that's interesting. That's one. In the 80s, it would have been Sigourney Weaver. I think you're right. Or it would have been Pamela Anderson, barbed wire style in the 90s, because the world makes terrible films. Cate Blanchett. That is a very interesting shout. I like that because Cate Blanchett's an amazing actor. Has history with the physicality stuff for doing films like Thor and things. So I think that's interesting. Rosario Dawson. That's really good. She's always good. I kind of wanted her to be Wonder Woman for a long time. I think she'd still be good at Wonder Woman, but that's good. Good girl. I know you put that in humour purposes, Stuart. I'm just playing along with the humour. Rosario would be great. Yeah, great. If she wasn't already Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. Good Samus. Yeah, Brie Larson's a weird one. Again, she's a very, very capable, very good actor. She's shot up very quickly. Yeah. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yeah. Very capable, very good. I liked her as a Huntress. My complaint with Birds of Prey was that there wasn't enough Huntress. I feel like we discussed, yes, we did. The what we watched recently, the first episode of that, we discussed Birds of Prey and things like that. So all the grievances are in there. But she's very good. She's good in most things I see her in, to be fair. Yeah. My game movie would be Transistor for me. The music in that game is epic too. Transistor. This is where my video game knowledge fails me. Andy, give us a bit of an overview of Transistor, please. Just if it's a console thing or a PC thing, is it a 2D thing. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna Google it. Transistor amazing. Okay, everyone's fans of Transistor. It's me who doesn't know what Transistor is. Fuck you, bastards. Let's have a look. Well, it's got extremely good reviews. It looks really interesting. I very much like the visual stylings of it. Okay. Yeah, this seems pretty cool. You're all well aware of what this is. Very Tron, cyberpunk strategy RPG with the talking sword. They also have an LP for the soundtrack. It's on Spotify. I'll definitely check that out. Nice. See, that's the kind of thing I think. Smaller, more independent sort of things. Because I mean, people say like, having now played. When we recorded that episode, I hadn't done my huge PS4 catch up. So now having played things like God of War and all the Uncharted games, I understand people and Last of Us, for example. I know how many people say, make that into a film, make that a film. I want to see that in live action. And I get it. But I also think that some of those things in the cinematic quality of what they are works best in the interactive medium. So, for example, in my opinion, Uncharted, the things that make it good and things that make it cool wouldn't translate as well on screen. I'm not saying it's impossible, obviously. I think it's entirely possible, the right cast, the right things. I always maintain Bradley Cooper would be a good Nathan Drake. Don't at me. But if you strip down all that stuff and make it just a film, it would come out just a very average National Treasure kind of film. It would be, the dialogue would be the stuff that's endeared in the game would be actually quite dumb on screen, and it'd probably be casted with Chris Pratt and it'd be like, another one of these, and it'd just be, I don't know if it would work as well. So we got hit. I also think Deus Ex would be a great film. Yeah, Deus Ex would be fantastic. I really think that's a good thing. But as Jack has said, setting would be great for a film or TV series. Especially with the way what they got Westworld in Series 3, I agree with that. No spoilers for any of that stuff. I'd like to see Skies of Arcadia, but I don't think it would translate too well. It's an obscure, amazing JRPG and would have to be cut down too much, maybe a TV series. That's usually the problem, cutting these things down, because everything has to be sacrificed along the way, and all that stuff that, if you think about what you love about a game, whether it's a big, especially RPGs, the stuff we tend to love, other than the big reveals and the big obvious, like, you have to have this, you have to have this, you have to have this in order to be officially a adaptation of this project. Once you strip that stuff away, you lose the core of what you like about it. It's, the curse of this kind of studio interfering, meddling stuff. Let's see. So much as I love the game stories, in them are not the greatest stories, as they are flawed in some aspect. As you say, it doesn't translate to film. We enjoy them, nothing because we took part. That's that. Yeah, I think that's very much it. Ace Combat games. That's interesting. I mean, we got our Top Gear movies. I would love a Fallout anthology series. Very interesting. I mean, apocalyptic sort of stuff is very easy to do. Wouldn't be too hard to make that stuff. I mean, what's the? My wife was watching recently. I haven't got around to myself. Tales from the Loop. I know it's an adaptation of an RPG, but that universe building is quite nice. And for a sort of high prestige television of 10 episodes, 8 episodes, I think you could do a lot of interesting stuff. Mass Effect. Okay, I love Mass Effect a lot. It's too much. I don't think you can make it into a film. And I hate this because I hate the fallback we have, which is you can't do this as a film. Anytime someone says you can't do this, I feel they haven't got it right. So, for example, Denis Villeneuve saying, of course, I'm making Dune as 2 films, or this opening film Dune 2 films. It can't fit into 1 film. And you're like, good. And it's so rare to think of now an example of a film that is split into 2. And I don't mean I don't mean an installment split into 2, like a final Twilight or a final Harry Potter or a final Hunger Games, where they just let's just bisect it. So we got all the character building and then all the payoff, and it's like that's a bit unsatisfactory. But to separate it as an actual thought process, how The Hobbit was supposed to be with Guillermo del Toro, that kind of thing, that's quite interesting. But having said all that, Mass Effect, it's big. I think the thing we love about Mass Effect isn't necessarily the plot of chasing one rogue dude. It's more the idea of the friendships and the interactions and the story building and all that sort of stuff. Back to the Future, yeah, like Back to the Future sequels, the sort of film both at the same time, or depressingly, The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. XCOM 80. So XCOM, I have never played it myself. I have a lot of friends who play it, and I have some friends who have the board game version, oddly enough. So I'm not exactly familiar with story, setting, plot, etc. But from what I understand, that could work. But again, maybe long form TV would be a little easier. Also, just making me Mass Effect have to choose one line. Yeah, there is also that point that Andy makes about Mass Effect. Anything with a storyline, or even like BioShock, which is always one I've personally wanted to direct. Like I can make that work because you can do things that have different endings. Unless you film different endings, like the Clue film from the 90s, unless you intentionally make something like that, which is very, very difficult to get away with, or Bandersnatch style sort of thing, you end up with a defined continuity. So suddenly all the options of what could have been is irrelevant because what the studio have shown you is the official story, and that gets a bit tricky. XCOM TV series film might end up as another sci-fi invasion film. I think that's the problem, isn't it? I think things that make these things unique isn't just the setting and the story of the game; it's the gameplay and the mechanics as well. That's why we lose something in translation. I mean, the Tomb Raider adaptation with Alicia Vikander, it's perfectly serviceable. It's fine. In terms of an actual representation of the video game, the most recent reboot stuff, it looks pretty good. It's pretty on point. Problem is, it loses a lot of the appeal of the games. But again, this is something we come to when we're talking about like sequelizing stuff. Just the idea that on paper it can work. This doesn't always mean it will work. But most of the time, we are correct. XCOM makes a great setting, but you've got to get a good story out of it. Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a hang up for these things. Okay, I keep looking around here for inspiration of stuff. Let's see. Oh, we did a test. We'll play a little game very briefly. We did a test I did a test stream for the executive producers, and we were basically doing a bit of a top trumps. And because we've got enough people, we probably do this in quite an interesting way. So we'll go with whoever shouts out first. Let's go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pick a number between 1 and 8. Okay. I'm seeing first and 6, which I assume means 1 and 6. Let's go with that. So what we're going to do, Stuart against Mike, and we'll come back to other people in a second. Oh no, this is first. Oh no, I'm thrown. 5-5. Hey, tell you what, we'll do Stuart versus Mike, and then Jack versus Stuart. We'll do this sensibly. And what we'll do is I'm going to pull out a random film from the shelf, hold it up against another random film. We're going to decide which one is better and/or won. Now, obviously, because of what's on my shelves, it could be some monstrous shit. So we'll see. But let's have a quick look. So going with Stuart on shelf 1 and Mike on shelf 6. So 1. Good. All right, 2 seconds. I'll try and avoid. You did shout first, so I did. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, fuck it. We're doing this now. It'll be perfect. Right, so 1 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that. And whatever this is. Okay, so shelf 1, as chosen by fate, randomness, and Stuart, is going to be a good film. It's a solid film, My Neighbor Totoro. Well done. This is going up against Mike's inadvertent pick from shelf 6, To Kill a Mockingbird. So, that's genuinely really tricky. Which is the better film? To Kill a Mockingbird or My Neighbor Totoro? I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird obviously says a lot more. It's a film of substance and poignancy, and it's a timeless performance. It's stood the test of time. It's a great adaptation. My Neighbor Totoro is beautiful and fun and the perfect thing to relax with at the minute. So, yeah, I'm personally going to have to say To Kill a Mockingbird wins it, I'm afraid. Make up your own minds. What do you guys think? Okay, so next is Jack Chambers and Stuart again, because that's how the numbers have gone there. I'm just going to go with it. 5 and 5, both from the same shelf. Interesting. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 2 random films from 5. Out the back. Random. Okay, so 2 films from 5. We'll go with Stuart first, then Jack. So Stuart's film is... Oh. Is that going to focus? God damn you, YouTube. I don't want to be one of those YouTube people. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film by Jonathan Liebesman. Cool. Jack has Danny Boyle's Steve Jobs. If you win, do you get Jack's Equalizer's position? You wouldn't want it. Nobody would. Focus. Oh my God. Thank you. Right. So, in my opinion, I think this is fine as a film. It's literally just fine. It's for kids and it's acceptable. Meh. Good. Steve Jobs, however, is actually really good. It's really underrated. Fassbender does a really good performance. Seth Rogen does a very good performance, and Boyle directs it in a very interesting way, and Aaron Sorkin's written it in a very interesting way. So, so yeah, Steve Jobs, Jack wins. So I'm afraid Jack keeps his job as the sequelizer. Okay, I think we've got 2 numbers left. 7 and 4. 7 and 4 for John and Andy. Okay. 7 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Excuse me. So 7, 4, and where's 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 7. All right, okay. So 4. 4 was Andy. Focus. Slow West. A really solid Western filmed in New Zealand. And yeah, great performances all around. Really good vignettes. Ben Mendelsohn, because as Chambers will say, Mendo, all the time. Great. But it is back to Fassbender. That's another interesting point. So that's 1. That's from shelf number 4. Shelf 7. Ooh, Singer. Focus. Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie is quite an underrated film. I think it's pretty good. Having said that, it is still Bryan Singer. It's flawed. It's problematic. But I think Slow West beats it quite easily, if I'm honest. Because as decent as I like some of the performances and bits and pieces in here, that's a really good film. So Slow West wins. Well done. Mendo Good Crow. Yes, Mendo Good Crow entirely. I think no one would doubt that. Tom Cruise Bad Crow. Where do we go? There we go. A little bit of Blu-ray top trumps. I think I've got all the numbers done. I just want to make sure I haven't got missed anyone off who said one. No, everyone got their thing, so that's good. Speaking of Mendelsohn, have you seen The Outsider? Is it the old one? The old film? 1 second while I check if it's the film I'm thinking of. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, the new one. Sorry, I apologize. The new horror film, the King one. No, I have not. Most TV stuff I get round to at some point. I usually, I mean, oh God, there's so many stuff I need. It's not Mindhunters, is it? What's the Fincher TV thing? I think it's Mindhunters. I could be wrong. Either way, I need to catch up on that stuff. I haven't got round to it. It's frustrating. Worst Crow, Chris Pratt. Oh, no, he'd be a bad Crow, but he's not the worst Crow. Come on, man. Jamie Kennedy exists. There's Mindhunters. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Tom Cruise, worst Crow. I don't think the worst again either. It's definitely, again, Jamie Kennedy exists. Fuck Jamie Kennedy. Nice. Good. Well, so far this has gone rather well. Again, in the worst Crow, Adam Sandler. Again, I agree. Terrible Crow, but also, need to remind you, Jamie Kennedy exists. Timmy Mallet. Fucking hell. No, he'd be a good Crow. He's still around. Is he still? I think he must still just look exactly the same and still do the same sort of stuff. I just assume, and this is going to sound bad, I don't give a shit. I just assume that everybody else. I assume that everybody from a certain era of British television presenting is just being investigated for crimes. So there is a very poignant comment here. There's a right role for everybody. I actually agree with it. I really do. Because at the end of the day, a guy called Nige who works in a comic shop in Norwich, very, very poignantly said to me once that there are no bad comic characters, just writers that don't fit them. And I love that. It was a really interesting point. Like, yeah, it's very astute, because you may hate a character and may hate them for however long, and then suddenly they're written well, and then suddenly it's like they're fantastic. But Jamie Kennedy does have a good role, and that's that of Randy in Scream. I think he's good in Scream. Scream's a great film. I really enjoy it a lot. I was a perfect age to watch it when it came out. But Kennedy's fine in it. He's obnoxious in the way he's supposed to be obnoxious. He's endearing in a strangely weird way, and they kill him off quite quickly. So ultimately, yeah, I think Kennedy's. Yeah. Okay, let's give that a go if we want. Can we give a celebrity who we think is terrible, and I'll try and figure out what the role is they've had, or what kind of role that they might go into that might be suiting for them. Using Celebrity Pointless a few weeks ago. Oh, piss off, Jack. He's not okay in Scream. He's good in Scream. He's part of an ensemble that makes it good. He elevates them. Henry Cavill, The Witcher. He's great in The Witcher. Fantastic. He's also really good in Mission Impossible 6. Jared Leto. He's good in Lord of War. That's a great film. Jared Leto's good in Fight Club. But he's good as support. Jared Leto shouldn't be a lead, in my opinion. As a support, he could be quite interesting, doing background stuff, pulling the shadow a little bit. Neil Breen, fuck right off. Neil Breen has never done a bad film. 2 seconds, I'll show you something. Friend of ours got us this for Christmas. It is glorious, and for those who understand who Neil Breen is, they'll make complete sense. Who's next on the list? What do we got here? I hate Jared Leto. Well, that's bad. Stephen Baldwin, Usual Suspects, man. It was great. I mean, he also makes a very interesting Barney Rubble. Not necessarily a good Barney Rubble, but maybe better than Rick Moranis. I don't know. Tim Allen, Galaxy Quest, Captain Nathan Drake. What the fuck was his name? Needlenose Ned and Netherhead. What the fuck is Captain? Whatever. He's good in Galaxy Quest. That's a good role for him. Jason Nesbitt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was very good. I think there is a role for everybody. I always maintain I don't like Amy Adams, and this is like a weird thing to keep saying, but think about it, just like goes, oh, great. But I will acknowledge she's fantastic in Sentinel. She's amazing in The Master, amazing in Arrival, amazing in Doubt, and by that logic, why don't I like her? Because when I don't like her, I really don't like her. That's my answer. But no, there has to be Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau, I think, is not an actor, so it doesn't count. But his role was The Room. Literally, that fixed him. It's terrible. People watch it. I mean, fuck me, people getting too much money. But yeah, so him, kind of. Jaden Smith. Okay. Here's the thing. I think Jaden Smith is reasonable. I think he has a lot of potential under the right director. I think he hasn't had that chance yet. I think the right role was already there for him in After Earth, where he is the son of one of the greatest warriors who has a huge shadow that he can't escape from, and he has to act differently in order to do it. But in the hands of the right person, that could have been done really, really, really well. And I think there's still maybe something in the future that could be done like that. So maybe. Mark Wahlberg, fuck off. Mark Wahlberg's great. He's good in The Departed. He's good in Max Payne. No, I'm kidding. Mark Wahlberg's fine. He does a lot of shit films. Oh, okay, yeah, it's a Transformer. Oh my god. You want a Budweiser? Fucking whatever. But yeah, he's good in some stuff. The Fighter is good in that. His whole life's a single ongoing acting gig. Hulk Hogan. Oh, Jack, you're being brutal. You're wrong, man. Only good in The Departed. That's nonsense. Sheer nonsense. After I'd had a good story to do, but I think they just thought the Smiths would carry it. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's got to fall on a handful of people. Arrogance of thinking the Smiths will carry it. In the same way that Gemini Man is like, this is right, we've got some interesting, innovative new technology, and Will Smith is like, that's not enough. I know you're being facetious, Jake, don't worry. Then you've got Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, I'll tell you what I'd like to see Hulk Hogan in. Hulk Hogan would be fantastic in a film like Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler, where he's like, where it's obviously Mickey Rourke, and he's like really down and miserable and depressing, and like I'm really like, oh my god, this is, because he has the acting chops. I think he could do it. So yeah, casting The Wrestler. There you go. Well done. Yeah. Tyler Perry. Easy answer. That Gone Girl. He is fucking brilliant in Gone Girl. Love him. He's really funny as He's very good in Vice as Colin Powell. He's very good in that one. Hogan has never been good, and he's also an asshole. He doesn't have the acting chops. Oh. Yeah, but if we have to get him at the right time, performance-wise, get him when he's really miserable and sad, make him more sad. Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler was supposed to star Nicolas Cage. I can't really picture it. Mickey Rourke is such a perfect fit because he was like a pretty boy actor who went off and did a load of fighting, got his face mashed to pieces, and became this really odd individual to work with. And that's why The Wrestler's so good for him, in my opinion. He's great in that role as the Ram. It's genius. But it's supposed to be Nicolas Cage. I can't picture it. Nicolas Cage. Who was it? Who was it said this? Ethan Hawke said that Nicolas Cage is fascinating. If you take away all his bottom half films, the top half films are some of the best films I've made in terms of acting and performance, because he does things that are so different in terms of acting and performance. And I would actually agree with that. I think he's a really novel individual. He gives you something. I don't think Nicolas Cage has ever phoned it in. And I think that's something that can be said for a lot of actors. He hasn't done a good one time because of his old money worries, but that's another thing entirely. What about, God, Nicolas Cage was in tons of good movies. Yeah, that's true. Right, next up, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris fought against Bruce Lee. He's done. We're done here. What about Kevin? Oh, he fought against Bruce Lee and lost. What about Kevin James? Kevin James, fucking hell. I want to see Kevin James in the kind of film that Adam Sandler did with Punch Drunk Love. An actual mature, serious movie. I bet you could fucking carry it. Now that smarmy, smirking, hey, bullshit that he tends to just get away with, and like, hey, I'm a bit overweight. And it's like, great, you're not doing King of Queens still, do something. But even his voice work as Frankenstein in Hotel Transylvania, I think there's something there that could be, given the right director, I'd like to see Kevin James cast in a Paul Thomas Anderson film. Not Paul W.S. Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson. That'd be really interesting. What biopic would you like to be made? Jack Nicholson. I'd like to see a biopic about Jack Nicholson's life. His life is fantastically weird and very interesting. And he's the kind of guy who just, other than his love of fucking basketball, who would literally cut you up in traffic. And, if you cut him up in traffic, he'd pull you over and he'd get a baseball and smash his car. And New York or Hollywood, where he was living at the time, would be like, that's Jack, what are you going to do? So weird. Such a weird personality, such an amazing individual and easy to mimic. I think it'd be quite interesting. Adaptation, Face Off, Bad Lieutenant, Leaving Las Vegas, Raising Arizona, fantastic Cage films. I agree entirely. Rob Schneider, fucking hell. Rob Schneider. Okay. No, I can do this. There's something Rob Schneider has done that is probably okay. No, there you go. Let's do it fine. Rob Schneider in Demolition Man, where he's just annoying little shitty sidekick to not even a psychic, just a tiny extra support who comes in, a little small, a little energetic, and runs away again, but also not offensive, as he is in most other things he's in. Not like repugnant as a human being, but just enough to do what he needs to do, then fuck off. So that's why I think he should be kept as. Also, you can do it! Maybe just them, a couple of those performances. LL Cool J. I would like to see him in a monster movie. I'd like to see him in something like a Godzilla film. I know he's I feel he was in a monster film. I can't remember what it was, but I think he could do something like that. Be a good supporting role as a militaristic man. I think he'd be quite good. Let's see what next. Peter Dinklage, great in TV, but I can't think of him good for a film. Station Agent is great in that. Just really small, simple stuff. But the problem is, because of the nature of Game of Thrones, he's been elevated, and because of that, it's like, oh, slap him in a leading role. It's like, yeah, he's a good actor. He's great, but he needs dramas. There's a film with, oh shit, is it Greg Kinnear? No, I'm not sure. It's a film with Dinklage and a few others about people in an institution who all believe they're Jesus. I'm going to find out what it's called. Boop, 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 boop. Thank you for your patience at this time. The film is called Three Christs. It's not good, apparently, but I don't care. It stars Walton Goggins, Bradley Whitford, Peter Dinklage, and Richard Gere, about three patients in an asylum who think they are Jesus. I mean, that's an astonishing elevator pitch. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's not obviously good at all. But that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, Station Agent. I agree. Homeland 2 was okay in there. Okay. 50 Cent. Again, with Tommy Wiseau, it's not an actor. But I think 50 Cent's good. I think he could be a good supporting role. Somewhere small in the background where he doesn't have to actually do too much. It's not sounding insulting. Just give it a bit of time. I think that'd be all right. Shaq. Fucking hell. Nope. Deep Blue Sea, yeah. Shaq, worst actor ever, yeah. Dinklage great in Death at a Funeral. I assume we're talking about the first Death at a Funeral, not the remake, because the remake was kind of boring. And that sounds like a stupid thing to say because it's the exact same film, but it was. It didn't land as well as it should have. Dolph Lundgren, Creed 2 is the answer to that one. He's great in Creed 2. Really interesting. And he's really good, obviously, in It's Ivan Drago in the first in Rocky IV. He's great in that, but he was really good in Creed 2. Which A-lister actor besides Amy Adams do you just not get? That's a very interesting question, because there aren't many. Because as for the aforementioned reasons, the idea of like, oh, I think anyone can be good. I don't like how Ebert likes the US version of Death of a Funeral better than the original, because he had weird. Every now and again, you could be right and wrong, but opinion subjective and all that sort of stuff. But fuck me, who knows? Right, actors I don't get on with. There must be a few. There must be a few more. But again, I'm always hopeful that when I see them, I'll be like, maybe this is the one that sways me, that makes me think it'd be a good performance. I don't know. Yeah, genuinely nothing leaps to mind, like immediately leaps to mind. What about you guys, by the way? Do you have an actor that you're not a fan of? Anyone you like? And I don't mean like we've discovered now, like Rob Schneider being an abhorrent human being, that kind of stuff, or Jamie Kennedy, or Tom Green if he's still around. But someone mainstream, someone big, people like Tom Hardy, Jared Leto. There you go. Because I know Jack is not a fan of Tom Hardy. No. Adam Sandler. No, okay, that's fair. Jared Leto, again. Don't think he's a good actor or a good musician. Fair enough. I think he's very arrogant as both, but that's fair. Sandra Bullock and Tom Hardy are Jack's ones. Now, we've had a conversation with Jack in the past about Sandra Bullock and how he doesn't get on with her, because I'm like, I don't get that, but okay, fine. Tom Hardy, I do understand some of the vitriol towards Tom Hardy. I think he's a very good actor. Again, I think he's just got to a point a bit like, excuse me, a bit like Johnny Depp, if I'm honest, where he is very talented and can do interesting things, but it's got into a rut of doing a certain type of thing and doesn't really stretch himself that creatively. So I'll put on a bit of a funny voice and a bit of a nose and a bit of makeup. Hello's my new character. Yes, and what is this exactly? That kind of thing, and that's fine if the whole cast are doing that. But if you don't do it on your own, you stand a bit of an oddball. So I get that. Woody Allen, fuck yeah, Woody Allen's a tricky one. I like some old Woody Allen films because of the idea of what they are. But him as a man, fucking hell. I had issues watching movies with Paul Dano for a while. Interesting. How unlikable he is in There Will Be Blood. Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I think sometimes you can see a performance where they're so good in that role that you just go, oh, fuck you. God, I hate you so much. And again, that can fade over time. Johnny Depp is sad now. That's true. Like an uncle who was cool when you were younger, but now you're older, just a bit odd. Yeah. I can understand that. James Franco. Yeah, okay. I've liked films he's been in, but I feel like he is just himself in films, not really anything else. Yeah, he's a bit of an interesting one. He was good in Buster Scruggs. I liked him in that. He chooses really interesting projects sometimes, like adaptations of Steinbeck sort of stuff. That's really cool. But the actual end result is always a bit like, it's fine. I prefer Dave Franco. I think, Dave Franco has the potential to be better than James Franco in terms of like the stuff he does, certainly. If you take, like, for example, okay, so I have a bit of a point where I don't like The Room. I saw it once and thought, that's a bit shit. And I saw The Room live with a big cinema crowd, and it was very different, and I really enjoyed the experience, but never again. I don't want to see that film ever again, because I'm not going to give money to a shit person who's made shit films. Or a shit film, at least. I don't think I should keep rewarding him for that. But I did watch The Disaster Artist. I thought it was very well done. I'm glad it didn't get Oscar for Best Actor. That would have pissed me off immensely. But Franco's, both of them, were very good in that. I enjoyed the performances, so that's good. Andrew Garfield, not disliked, but I only ever see him as Frank from the Doctor Who episode he was in. Okay, somebody who hates Doctor Who. Sorry, I hate Doctor Who very much. This is a thing that people who know me well know. I will, at any point at the drop of a hat, say, I fucking hate Doctor Who. And there are a lot of things that annoy me about it. But I won't get into them right now. Andrew Garfield is a weird one. I think there are times when he's in things like Hacksaw Ridge. It's fucking amazing, that film. I know Mel Gibson, but he's great in that film. And there are times where I see him and I think, he's good, but it shouldn't have been him. Amazing Spider-Man. I think he's had great rapport and thing, but as Tim has pointed out very often, he's too cool to be Peter Parker. Spider-Man was pretty good, but we're not going into Amazing Spider-Man. But then I remember Martin Scorsese's Silence, about these two Portuguese priests who go to Japan and struggle with their faith, etc., etc. And one's played by Adam Driver, one played by Garfield. Now, I like Silence. I think it's a pretty decent film. I think it's got flaws and it's fucking long, but I like it as a film. It's been a passion project of Scorsese's for some time. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm literally just apparently getting there before you can get to it. So yes, the point is, Driver and Garfield are cast in roles, and Garfield is the lead and Driver is a support, and it's interesting to see what they do. But if those roles were reversed, that could have been so good. I think that genuinely would have been astonishingly good. What else have we got here other than that? Seth Rogen. Jack does a good impression of Seth Rogen's laugh. He does it quite well and does it frequently on the show. Seth Rogen's fine. I think he can be in the right role. I think there are good roles for him specifically. He's really good at 50-50. 50-50 is really good with him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Again, more a support than a lead kind of thing. And also better as a producer. There we go. I'm not in the camp of it's so bad, it's good. I can't sit and watch them. That's fair. Except for Neil Breen. They are a thing to behold. Whilst visiting my girlfriend in Boston, we watched The Fanatic. I watched it all and wanted that time back. Yeah, no, I understand that. Adam Driver as well. He's kind of weird. Sometimes I think he's good, and others think he's just bored as fuck. Oh, no, Adam Driver's good. Sorry, he's. I'm not gonna say anything, but there is going to be some bonus audio discussion stuff coming up in a month. I want to say, because we've got pre-recorded stuff we've done already. There's about 2, maybe 3 bonus for you guys specifically. Episodes coming up, and one way off in the future is talking about actors. Basically, I won't say any more than that. But yeah, Driver's gonna be talking about. I don't think I've seen a bad movie with Adam Driver in it yet. Yeah, I agree. Adam Driver's just he's. I think he's going to have a very, very interesting career, but I think he does have that interesting burn of somebody who looks. Maybe it's the militaristic side of him. Maybe he's a Marine. He just has that sort of like stoic face that you think he's just not there. And then he jumps in and snaps, or he's just, yeah. I think he's a very confident actor in that way. So but I do understand that. We got here Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, we'll get to Star Wars at some point, but you know my opinion of Star Wars. If you don't, you can see my reviews. But he's not necessarily bad in Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker may be a bad film, but he's not bad in it. He was great in Logan Lucky and Don Quixote. Tim loves Logan Lucky, and I agree. Jack, sorry, mentioned that people often compare him to Seth Rogen. I think that's because, didn't we have that one, like, who should play us in films? Everyone said, Jack should be Seth Rogen! And Jack wasn't that happy. Few redeeming features of The Last Jedi. Stuart, you can fuck off, you're wrong. He's a real-life actor, plays the role playing him. Yeah, that's a fair statement. He's one of the only good things in the sequels. That's also bold talk, but fair. I'm not going to dispute it, because Star Wars has become a very strange thing. Whereas we can say, like, okay, this episode is going to be on the sequel to Jurassic Park or something. We all talk about it, we have a discourse and so on and so forth. But Star Wars now becomes a very difficult thing to talk about, because people get very deep in their camps with this. And I find that interesting. So in fact, when we do this live show, probably in London or Norwich, probably London, it's more accessible for people, we're going to have a lot of kickoff. I think rather than being like, maybe like a bit of a fun atmosphere mostly, but then someone's going to be like, no, you can't do that. And I'm going to, we don't respond well to that, unfortunately, here at Sequelizers. So we're going to have someone say, why are your prequel films not about Darth Vader? Oh, we just decided not to. You can't do that. Turns out we do what the fuck we like, thank you very much. And there'll be like fights. So hopefully it won't, but there we go. Let's see what we got. Daniel Craig in any post-Casino Royale Bond film. He's good in Skyfall. Should have stopped there. We'll leave that there. Okay, bye then. Oh, sad times. I sometimes wonder if Hayden Christensen would be better thought of if he'd had scripts that were decent. Yeah, he was good in Shattered Glass. He's not great in Jumper. Don't talk about that one, but yeah. I think, like anything, there's always a role for some people. Love Him and Knives Out, Logan Lucky. That's true for Craig, yeah. Oh, Glass. There we go. Shattered Glass, yeah. I can act. Storm into the crowd and punch them out. Yeah, Jack, we would have to. We'll probably wrap this up in about 15 minutes or so, just because a 2-hour mark seems like a nice, clean thing to do. I know you all have busy lives and things to get on with. Now you're all in lockdown, doing nothing. Rebel fucking Wilson, to quote Stuart. Rebel Wilson. Yeah, she's tricky, and I've seen Cats. Jack, Cats memories. In Jojo Rabbit, she's fine, but that's not really so much. She's just being herself again, and I don't really care for it. Pitch Perfect, she's fine, but a bit annoying. I don't know. Oh, it's really tricky. I think you're right. And she might be the worst thing. She might be the worst thing about Cats, yes, but she also made her and Corden made herself 10 times worse with what they did at the Oscars. For you guys who've listened to the Oscar commentary track where they come on in their cat suits and we're like, fuck you for ragging on the visual effects people. You have no right to say that, you utter wankers. Especially when neither of them, especially I think Corden and Judi Dench, haven't seen the film. So, fucking hell. But I'm sure there's a role for Rebel Wilson. She just has to be, again, I think it's just a confident director and say, that's enough, we can stop now. Apart from the plot. Let's the Pitch Perfect. Yeah, the Pitch Perfect films are fine. I'm not gonna say they're literally they're perfectly fine. And as Jack said, Rebel Wilson being 40 years old is mind blowing. That's crazy. Cats the Musical's Lucy Join collection of excuses for songs based on her poetry. It seems an odd choice for a film. It is, and I agree entirely. And there's a Lindsay Ellis video. It's like an hour long. Go check it out. Jack and Tim and I have seen it. It's good. Let's flip the question. What movie or TV series, to open up, would you like to see a game of? What movie or TV series would you like to see a game of? I don't know if there have been lots of them that have been adapted very well, unfortunately, because usually they're rush jobs trying to make it into a thing or trying to bounce off a film that don't work. It's an interesting question, though. Okay, a movie that I'd like to see made into a video game, because I played The Godfather on the Xbox years ago. That was weird as a market. I don't know. It was fine. It was weird. Altered Carbon, very interesting. Again, I think that's because it's been adapted from a book, much the same like The Witcher has, for example, the TV series and the game and all that sort of stuff. So I think this is a lot you can drill down into on that one. Altered Carbon's definitely an interesting one. I think my honest answer is similar vein to Altered Carbon. Blade Runner. I know they did a Blade Runner game on the PC back in the day, and it was very, very, very good. But Blade Runner would be an interesting one. In truth, I'm going to have to go with Ghost in the Shell. I know there is a Ghost in the Shell game, or a few of them at least. Okay, there was one on PlayStation 1 that I used to own your little attached comb and you ride around and shoot things. But a Ghost in the Shell game with like, and I know someone's going to say, that's Watch Dogs, isn't it? No, I mean a good game. Super Happy Kill Time, the game. So, if you guys don't know, shame on you. If you don't know, among the other things we do, I've got a web series going called Super Happy Kill Time. Lots of people feature in it. You should all be watching it. It's very good. I'm currently shooting a lot of it. Currently. And yeah, that would actually make quite a fun game. If I'm honest with you, I think it would be quite interesting. Lots of sort of cartoony, Scott Pilgrim-y kind of world-based world-building stuff. I think I'd have it like not an open world. That'd be really fucking annoying. But like an assassin-style game like Tenchu or something. That'd be cool. Good shout. Watch Dogs 2 is good. I haven't played it, so I'll take your word for it, Jack. Usually quite on with these things. So yeah, okay, I'll believe you. I think it's because when it was announced at E3, it was going to be like this major game that was going to change the industry and, like, oh, look how progressive it was. And then when the thing finally came out, it was whittled down and down and down. I was a bit disappointing. The Last Starfighter, very interesting choice. Yeah, I think it could work as a game. I think in the way that Last Starfighter is game within a game within a game kind of thing. Anyway, that could be quite interesting in the right engine. Do you like 2049? I've seen it a few times and never sure if I actually liked it or not. Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, I love it. I've seen it. Similarly, I've seen it just. The thing is, and Jack and Tim and I have a similar thing, but basically, we really love Denis Villeneuve. I think he is a frankly flawless and very interesting director, and will go on to be one of the greats, in my opinion. Genuinely will. But his style is divisive. His pacing can be very divisive. And I think ultimately 2049, much like the original Blade Runner, it will always cut people. Some people watch Blade Runner, the original, and go, this is fucking dull, stupid, I don't really get it. Some people, because it's got so much connection to the previous one, it's hard to go into. But I personally still really enjoy it. I don't know if we're getting a third one or not, ever. I don't know if I want a third one ever or not. But I like 2049 a lot. Hitman-style Oceans game. That's interesting. Heist stuff is usually a side mission. Then I think like Grand Theft Auto 5 or excuse me. There we go. I did see Heat done in the Payday style. Payday where they were like rob banks and stuff like that for Heat. That'd be interesting. Breaking Bad has a bloody terrible mobile game. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Resource farming nonsense. Blade Runner is my second favorite film of all time. Okay, well that makes sense. After the genre-defining Tron Legacy. That's bold, confident talk. As do most things these days. Yeah, I think that's a terrible mobile game. Because again, that's rather than create an actual game for a console, that's a lot of effort, a lot of time. What you'll end up get is like something like has a property that like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this. It's interesting. Like the Friday the 13th one, you're like, that's an odd choice. Or you get like just a rushed mobile game to tie in with something, and it's surprisingly fine. A lot of anime do that. Or it's shit and disposable. I signed up to get it first, gone within a day. That sounds familiar. Tron Legacy, #1 film ever. That's goddamn, guys, come on. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's difference in films between good and enjoyable. Ghostbusters 2, for example, is not good, but I do find it enjoyable. I actually completely agree with that, and I have to remind myself that when I'm reviewing sometimes I put this into the review itself, where I'll say, I really enjoyed this film. I liked it a lot, but it's not good. Or alternatively, I didn't enjoy this film at all, but I can understand why it's a functionally very well-made film. That kind of thing. Lord of the Flies is Battle Royale. Jesus. It's interesting. Lord of the Flies is one of my favorite books, so I think you'd have a real hard time getting that past censors and say, what's the band? Well, okay, you play as a bunch of little boys on an island. Okay. How old is boys? Preteen. Okay. And some of them, some of them just get beaten up and stuff. Okay. What about the other ones? They got sticks, and they hunt them. They hunt each other like pigs. Right. Maybe get past that. What else we got here? I've never gotten on board with Breaking Bad. I wanted to love it, but I didn't even like it. That's unfortunate. I think it's a good show. Slow. I think I've seen it whittled down into like a very, very refined version that's only like 4 hours long. That's worth watching. A decent open world Terminator game would be interesting. Terminator is a tricky one, man. Because the novelty of Terminator, in my opinion, is the chase. And if you're not being pursued, you lose a lot of that energy. The world building's fine. If you have a war game that's set in like the future wars or something, it's a bit difficult. And again, what do you do? Do you have like a Resident Evil thing with Mr. X just stalking you, like it's impossible to kill thing, as a Terminator should be? Or do you have it that a Terminator can be killed with the next amount of shots? In which case, they're not much of a threat. So, interesting. Have a time travel mechanic. Okay, 2 versions of the city, post-apocalyptic, pre-apocalyptic. That's quite interesting. Are there any films you think would have worked better if they were a TV series instead, or vice versa, a series that would have been better as well. Yeah, tons, genuinely tons. So much so that I think this might be one of our discussion points for an in-season chat, because all too often we think to ourselves, this is great, but we need to have time to really develop the characters, the building, and that kind of stuff. So I think, without meaning to just dismiss the question, I apologize, but yeah, there are a shit ton. Nerd keeps Terminator style GTA matches with in the Littlewood was fun to watch. I haven't seen a lot of Nerdkeep stuff. I'm shit. Have I met Dan? I feel like I have at the YouTube Centre in London once when recording for some Barsh and stuff with Stuart. But it was a long time ago if I have. Alien Isolation style Terminator game. First of all, brilliant idea. I love Alien Isolation. That's a fantastic game. It's one of my favorite Alien sequels, if I'm honest. Really love that game. And that for Terminator, that's actually quite interesting. That could be one, really. Red Dragon worked better as the second half of Series 3 of Hannibal. Yeah, that's fair. I don't have any problem with that. That's a good shout. Be awesome. Right, well, we'll wrap it up soon then. Just so I can get some food because I'm hungry. Hope you all enjoyed this so far. Again, this is a test. This is the first one. There'll be lots more of these. I know we've had them on the Patreon for some time now as something we wanted to do. We have obviously the technology and the abilities. The problem is we don't have the other people. And it'd be nice to have this. We'd like to get John Scarrett on at some point as well, have him talk about things and so on and so forth. As said earlier, we'll release those poster pictures later. You get a good look at them, and they are very, very good. And yeah, it was rubbish. I should take my custom elsewhere. Well, you can fucking try. See what you get. So yeah, we'll give it a go. And as I say, we'll come back with another couple of these. Maybe we'll do Jack next in his living room. Give you a tour of his thing. I agree. 6 out of 10, Matt. You know what? I'll take that 6 out of 10. That's above average. I'll take it. And maybe Tim or something like that. I'm sure if we do one with Jack, it'll just be Jack and his cat. And that will be the highest rated thing on the internet ever. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody. Stay positive. Stay safe. Stay inside. No. I hope everyone's always keeping very sane with all this stuff. I mean, as an introvert, I'm like, this is great. I'm working from home now, thankfully, so I'm all right. But at the same time, I know a lot of extroverted individuals and things have difficulty. So hopefully the stuff we're punching out, a bit of a distraction. So that's good. Pour the milk. Damn you, John! Just pipe at the last minute. I'm not going to pour the milk on myself. Freak. Oh, fucking hell. This is how it ends. Lord of the Flies, isn't it? Kill the pig, pour the milk. Anyway. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone else. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for turning up. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you all for your patience, and thank you for doing this. We'll do another one. Let you know well in advance. We'll also, this video will still be on the YouTube, so you can watch it back and things like that. So that's all fine. Like no one would want to, but at the same time, there'll be different chats, different bits and things. So hopefully, once this is all passed by and we're all back to normal, it'll be the three of us, and we'll be hopefully much more entertaining than just me in solitary. But thank you very much for attending, everybody. We'll see you all for the next one. And now, the best thing to end a stream, someone just doing this. How do I turn it off? Do I click here? So let's have a look. Check out Transistor, Matthew. I will check out the music. Hang on. I don't want to forget. I'm going to check out the music for Transistor right now. And then I will check out the game, or at least investigate the game, because I'm already knee deep in game stuff I'm trying to get through. Transistor. Got it. Cool. Thank you. Right. See you all later. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending and things like that. If you look under your seats, you'll find nothing. Right. So end stream button. Let's see if we can do this. Did it end? Did it end?